In our learning from Genesis and the family of Abraham. Today I want to talk with you about a Christmas connection that most people don't make until you hear it and then you go, aha. And so that's with the promise that God gives to Abraham and how God goes about fulfilling his oath, his promise to Abraham and his descendants of faith. The promise is given because of faith, not because of bloodline. And God says that he's going to make Abraham become blessing unto the nations. And so they go through, and Abraham is not really very faithful in a number of ways. And one of those is he takes Lot with him. He wasn't supposed to, but he takes Lot with him, who becomes a thorn in his side and a real problem. And so God says to Abram and to Lot that he's going to destroy the cities of the plain because their sin is so loud and so blatant and so in your face. Not only do they sin, now they proclaim it as a good thing. And that becomes a serious sign of depravity in the Old Testament and in our world today. Things that should shame them become things that they glorify. And so they set God's provisions and his promises aside for the sake of their own passions. And God says he's going to destroy everybody. And then comes this very, very strange thing that happens. There seems to be a bargaining. What if I were to find 50 good people? Would you destroy the city then? No, I would say I would not destroy the city for 50 people. What about 45? What about 30? What about 20? What about 5? And each time on down the line, it's clear that God's desire is not to destroy. He would revel in the reality of finding a decent person. And then the city gets destroyed, which means he didn't find one. That's troubling, isn't it? An entire city, cities, plural, no decent people in the whole city. And I think that's the point. And so now this is now the second time that that God's made this kind of pattern obvious to us. When he looks down, there are no decent people. He floods the whole earth, and he picks Noah as a remnant, and maybe there's hope with Noah. He chooses Abram's family, looks down on the cities of the plain, and he's just looking for decent people who have faith, and he can't find any. And so he wipes out the entire population with fire this time, not water. And as I read the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, it's I'm very mindful that it really sounds an awful lot like Revelation, and an awful lot. And I wonder what God sees when he looks down on our civilization. And should I be pleading for him to have mercy? Should he find 10 decent people, 10 men and women of faith? And the reality is, there really aren't any. I know that doesn't sound much like a Christmas story, does it? It's a very caustic and harsh. But I think that is the point of Christmas. There really aren't any. And it is not God's desire to completely abolish. That's never been his nature. It is not his nature. His nature is to save. And so he looks down, as he's looking down now, he looks down and says, I've sent a flood to abolish. I've dispersed the nations at the Tower of Babel to try to thwart this. I've now sent fire from heaven to destroy the cities of the plain. And I'm going to do it again. But in between the wrath and the sin, he enters in. He says, I am going to do one more thing. I'm going to offer them an opportunity to be saved. And so comes Christmas. God enters into a sinful world that is fallen, where he can find no good people, no people of faith, nothing that is decent. And he says, I'm going to give them an alternative. And he's going to die on the cross. And the alternative is belief, faith, a changed life. I believe that this is the nature of God. He is our Savior. And when he looks down upon the world, even now, there is none who are righteous. Not one, including me. And so Christmas becomes really, really important, because it is the only means by which we can be saved. Our Savior comes. He comes for the purpose of finding sinners and transforming their hearts so that they might walk with him and live in peace and have hope and joy and love each other, no matter what the corrupt world is doing. That's the point of Christmas. And I hope and I pray that you, if you don't know the Savior, that you would give him a chance and try to see and understand just what God is doing this Christmas in your heart and in the hearts of the people who will turn and believe. Yes, this is a great Christmas story about the nature of God, who, when he looks down upon a corrupt world and he finds no one who is righteous, says, I'm not going to destroy all of them. I'm going to give them a chance. And so, Merry Christmas. Y'all have a great